feel like 2014
We were up there.
we
were there.
I was peak technical at that point. And changes that have happened since have not been kind to me.
That's really depressing. I'd say that's like over a decade ago.
Yep.
And it's like, what is it? Every 2 years that like things. I don't know what that rule is. That like every 2 years or every 3 years, like technological capabilities double. Is that a real thing? Am I making that up?
This is something I don't think I've heard before.
No, it's, you know how, like, well, maybe not anymore, but it used to be like every 2 years, you know, the size of...
Yeah, that's going to have to plateau at some point.
I mean, yeah, it seems like it would physically plateau at some point, but then sure, they got all this like quantum computing and stuff coming in now, so maybe that's going to be the new thing.
It's too much.
It's too much. Way too much.
Again, 2014 I think is where we peaked, as this is as much technology as we need.
And if you think, like, I think about this often, technology keeps on getting exponentially better, but in this last 10, 15 years, I haven't really seen the difference.
Nope,
like,
not a hope.
Like, we're not getting any more, like, movies that we can fit on the, like, a thumb drive.
It's way worse. Like movies, even movies that are, like, 20 years old, when I'm trying to very legally download some of them, they're like 40 gig and stuff. It's like, what are you doing? What have you done to this movie that was like 500 meg?
It's like
10 years ago.
They've upscaled it. They're like, I don't even know if it is upscaling, because it's not like you can zoom in. They like the pores on people's. Well, you can see the pores on people's faces now. And that's something that I don't really like.
I don't
in
want
modern
to see the pores on people's faces.
Even this stuff, like whenever we record, like we record in like 1080p or something.
Yeah.
We can do 4K, but why do I want 4 times the amount of information?
I don't want people to see my face in 4K.
People don't need to see our shit in 4K. It's unnecessary and it takes up more space on my computer. And I don't want it. I don't want to do it. If anything, I would go back to 720p.
I have no problem with 720p.
In fact, we record in 1080p and then zoom in.
So it may as well be around 7.
Like, I had no problem with 720p. I had no problem with SD. You know, back like we were raised on SD.
Like 2006, I want to say, is when HD became like a big thing.
Yeah.
And like, not once have I cared. Not once did I buy a Blu-ray player. No. Not once did I get any of that. Like, I didn't need it.
When it became convenient, then we just went, okay.
I'm not the person that cares about how things look. I care about the content, the meat.
Yeah.
Not the presentation.
And it's strange, like I work in the film and TV industry.
Yes.
So you think I would have a care about it, or like in any way be like, oh yeah, you won't. But, well, because I do special effects as well, like the better quality things become,
the harder your job is.
Yeah, the more obvious all the shit is. Like back in the day, people were pulling stuff on, you know, like fishing wire and stuff, and you could never see the fishing wire.
Know. Yeah.
Now you can zoom in to see what fucking the weave is on the wire. Like, it's ridiculous. It's the same with Emma, my wife. She works in hair and makeup for film and TV, and every little stray hair, you can see everything. It just makes life so difficult these days compared to in the fucking 90s. People who worked in film and TV were like taking on their lunch break. They were going having 4 or 5 pints. You know, like Pinewood Studios in London still has a pub in the studios.
In the studio,
yeah. In fairness, some people do still go there at lunch, but,
which is fair.
It's a lot few and far between now compared to what it used to be. It's a much more rigid environment, you know.
Speaking of old TV and lies, which is what they were at the time, and still are, but just harder to do.
What way do you mean lies? Like us pulling the wool over people's eyes?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's creating a narrative, you know, that isn't really true. Well, a few episodes ago we talked about wrestling, and I said we'll come back to talk about the lies of Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah,
so
that's right.
I made a little list of things that Hulk Hogan has said. We'll talk about them individually, but the overarching theme is I want you to tell me if what he said here is the truth or a lie. Okay.
So he said all of these things?
All of the things he's said.
Okay.
You have to just tell me if they're truth or lies.
Okay.
Okay, now...
Do I get any kind of clue?
You won't need it.
Okay.
Here's the first example of why you don't need it.
Okay.
Because he said he wrestled 400 days in 1 year because he traveled so much between Japan and America. Now I know you enjoy a bit of maths.
I went straight to trying to work out the maths. I was like, if he's flying across the Pacific instead of across the other way.
Clearly that didn't happen.
No, because if you're traveling across the Pacific, you're traveling further into the east, so you're going ahead of time.
Yep.
So you would only get
So you're almost
less
losing
days.
time. Yeah.
You would get less days in the year. So he would have to travel. Well, I suppose no, because it depends on where the time zones start. If the time zones start in Japan, then if he wrestled at like midnight in Japan and then flew across the Pacific,
But the thing
to say
is,
he was able to arrive in America.
Going back and forth negates the other. So if he's gone from Japan to America and back to Japan, whatever hours he gained, let's say, he loses them when he goes back. So it all would even out eventually. Because he doesn't stay in one place for forever.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So
I think we can say it's bullshit. Anyway.
Exactly.
It is bullshit.
It's bullshit. But the thing with Hulk Hogan, the thing that just to give more context here, like Hulk Hogan is by far one of the biggest stars in the history of like the world.
Yeah.
Right. Like he's the last person in the world that needs to make up these lies. But for some reason he's like got this mad addiction to just telling the most outlandish stories that are so verifiably untrue. Let's move on to the next one.
Well, hang on a minute. I just wanted to say on that. It is possible that he could have like wrestled 400 shows.
Oh, well, easily, and people have, especially back in those days, they were doing 2 a day sometimes. Mm-hmm. But he says 400 days. He was very clear. Yeah. It was 400 different days. It wasn't novelty to wrestle 400 shows.
That kind of reminds me. Whenever I was a teenager, it was like one of my first times ever being out of Ireland. And it was me and my friend Noel. We went over with my family on our holidays. We only went to Scotland. It was like, and we were in Ayr, so it was like probably closer to Belfast than what we are right now, is the place that we were in. But we met up with these two. We were like maybe 14 years old, just kind of kids, all like, fumbling around. But we met these two girls, and we kicked around with them for the holiday. But we ended up, they were from Manchester, so not even that far from Ireland. Massive Irish population in Manchester as it is. But we were able to convince them that in Ireland we didn't have Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
So there was no Tuesdays. It just went Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We were able to convince them that we had no refrigeration. There was no fridges in Ireland. And that leprechauns were real, and they were farmed, and there was a leprechaun farm right beside Noel's house.
Of course, but Noel does have a leprechaun farm.
Yeah, no, exactly. But they were just on board. They were fully like.
This is like there's a very clear in my head difference in this. Like Ireland, especially Irish people, and we're the worst of them sometimes.
Okay.
Love a good ribbon. Do you know what I mean? And that's just the whole point of that is about a light-hearted fun.
Yeah.
At the end
Although
of the
we
day,
never let them know.
They went. You haven't finished your ribbon yet.
So they went back to Manchester.
They may still think that.
Yeah, there's no Tuesdays in Ireland. So by that, maybe Hulk Hogan was trying to say there's extra days in Japan, which there's not. But
yes, but there doesn't seem to be there doesn't seem to be a clear reason. At the end of this, I will give my opinion on it, but there doesn't seem to be a clear reason why he's lying so much. So here's the next one, and again, truth or lie. So this one can go either way realistically now. So he was supposed to be the representative, the sponsor, of a series of grills that were going on sale. But he missed the call, and it was George Foreman that they got a hold of.
You know what? When did George Foreman grills come out?
Like 90s, the 80s, 90s, yeah, one of the two.
I'd say that could be real.
You'd think that completely lies.
Oh.
And the people who made the grill, everybody has said we never considered Hulk Hogan for this whatsoever. It was not a thing.
Oh, man.
And if memory serves correctly, at the same time that the George Foreman grill came out, there was some sort of like Hulk Hogan like smoothie maker or something that like never took off.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but again, the grill was never ever his.
That's so like why even boast about that?
Exactly.
Like, nobody cares.
It's so low value. Like, and don't get me wrong, George Foreman grills were huge. I've had a few in my life, but like of all the things, again, like Hulk Hogan is more famous than George Foreman. Like there's no question about it. But you can't let him have this one.
Oh man, it's so bananas, isn't it? It's like it's Trumpian.
It's very much so. It's just
it's like
say whatever you want. Whatever comes to mind, just say it out loud.
You know what? I have met a few people in my day that are like that, and they're complete psychopaths. Like people that, and I'm a little bit gullible as well. Whenever people say things, I kind of take it at face value.
Yeah, because
if someone says something like that, it would never occur to me why anyone would lie about it.
But my thing is that I always look for. I'm not necessarily gullible, but I always look for like, okay, if this is a lie, let's try and figure out the reason he's saying it.
Yeah.
And if I can't find it, then I'll just accept it and just pretend for now.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I can sometimes very much follow the breadcrumbs of saying, okay, well they're saying this because of it serves them in this purpose.
Exactly.
But sometimes people just lie.
They just love a good lie.
Yeah, they just lie. They lie
just to
for the
themselves.
sake of lying.
It's not like it's like if it's just like you and Noel, we're having a little laugh between yourselves at the expense of these Manchester girls.
Sounds kind of bad when you say it that way. But
it sounds bad, but like again, you're just having a wee giggle. You're 14. Who cares?
Yeah.
But if you were to do that on your own, and then they leave, like
no one's anything.
No, it's weird.
Although I have kind of done that a few times as well, for my own amusement. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe they just do it for their own amusement. They be like, I stick things. Fucking the George Foremans were mine.
I'm gonna try and start stealing like grandiose Hulk Hogan lies and try and pass them off on my own now.
Yeah.
I was considered for the George Foreman grill, the Nathan McCartney grill. Well, the next one.
You could do it like with local things. You could be like, at that Very Clever shop, they actually, they actually made a whole series of cards based on me. But like,
I wouldn't let them put. Too modest. I'm too modest to let them put them out there. Well, and modesty wise, you could say, and this is where the next one comes in, which again, it's just the level of the level of lie is the more absurd part. If Hulk Hogan were to come out and say, I was actually going to play bass or play guitar in, a band that had like a one-hit wonder, like Reef, like the New Radicals, get away with it.
Yeah.
But
the Metallica one.
It's not just Metallica. The last time we spoke of this, I buried the lead here.
Okay.
So he was supposed to play and got approached by both Metallica and the Rolling Stones.
Because he fits right in with the Rolling Stones.
Can you imagine? Big beefy Hulk Hogan. Just quietly playing bass beside Mick Jagger is skinny. Obviously, Lars Ulrich was the one that came out and said, no, this was never a conversation. Nobody ever considered this. Oh, it's just I just love the level of absurdity that comes from that.
I think you would need to have a whole host of smashable stuff as well, like smashable guitars. You would just need to build boxes that look like Marshall amps and just let him smash through them.
Well, he did release an album with a band that he was in. It was just nondescript.
He actually does play an instrument.
He plays bass.
Okay.
Right? So and as a bassist, I'm comfortable to say it's depending on how you play bass, it's the easiest instrument of the rock group.
Okay.
If you're just as an entry level, I don't consider playing bass easy because I went to a certain degree of playing it too much.
You can deep dive in. It's one of those easy to pick up, hard to master.
Exactly.
things.
There we go. And again, bass is my main instrument, and there's no shade on bassists here, but like you can pick that up and go for it.
I think there's a lot of things like that as well, though. Every instrument, I think, is easy to pick up and hard to master, because once you get into the nitty gritty, you go, "Oh, actually, shit, there's a lot in this."
Once you put stuff together, it becomes like, ooh.
Yeah, I think like almost anyone could jump on a kit and within an hour be able to play a basic beat, or jump on the guitar and be able to play a few basic chords.
I tell you what, when it comes to the drum kit, like that's one thing I cannot do.
The
Like
separation's difficult.
25 years later of like the first time I tried to play drums, it's just my limbs want to move together. They do not want to move separately.
So I've broken up the whole fucking podcast now because I went and took a work phone call. But
Good thing I'm prepared this time. I'll dump straight back in for the sake of time.
You're good.
So here's one that is potentially true. So you have to make this decision yourself.
All right.
So, you know Darren Aronofsky, the director.
I know the name, but I can't think of it.
So he did a film called The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Yes.
Art housey sort of director. And again, Hulk Hogan says, I quote, "He was offered the lead role multiple times, but he turned it down because he didn't deserve it." I think you know the answer.
I'm going to say that one's fake.
You're never offered the role, like, and if you know Aronofsky's work, like you would never give Hulk Hogan that. Like it would be an awful film if Hulk Hogan was playing that character.
Oh man, and it's such like a kind of serious drama of a
It's
film.
an incredible
as well.
film. Like, it's really
but
good.
it's not like the wrestling is sort of like the back. You know,
maybe like 4 minutes of wrestling. The whole film.
it's like the backdrop, and it's all about him and his like his psychology and his personal life. And can you imagine Hulk Hogan coming on trying to do that?
But like, he wouldn't let George Foreman. He wouldn't let George Foreman have the grill. He wouldn't let Mickey Rourke have the wrestler. He had to be first. Okay, we'll skip forward a couple. So one of the biggest moments in like wrestling history is WrestleMania 3, where Hulk Hogan against Andre the Giant.
Okay.
And the whole big thing they build towards the whole way through is that, you know, Hulk Hogan lifts up Andre the Giant and body slams him. Now, that did happen. Okay, that did happen, right?
He actually lifted Andre the Giant?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Man, I thought Andre the Giant would fucking eat Hulk Hogan alive.
Hulk Hogan was big and strong. Like,
I know, but Andre the Giant is a
literal giant, yeah,
like an animal. Like,
so here's what he said: he was the first one to slam Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, and Andre the Giant weighed 600 pounds, and Andre would pass away a few days after said slam. So he slams him. A few days later, he dies.
Is he kind of
and in turn, Hulk Hogan tore 18 muscles in his back. So, okay, first of all,
I think there are elements of truth in that. First of all, he's not 600 pounds because that's
absurd.
It was
billed at 500 pounds.
That's like a brown bear or something, isn't it?
But Andre the Giant was billed at 500 pounds, right? But like again, we talked about before, WWE, WWF, WWE, like always exaggerate things because that's the whole point. So he was probably in like the 400 mark, I would say. Right.
Even that's so well, yeah, maybe actually, yeah.
Yeah, well, he was a giant.
Yeah, I'll give it that, like 400 pounds.
First of all, it wasn't the first time Andre the Giant got slammed, like got body slammed. Like many people have done that before, including Hulk Hogan. Like it's not even the first time he did it.
I mean, I couldn't imagine anybody just swinging around.
Well,
like
it's a scoop
kilograms.
slam. It's just boom, boom. It's a two. Like you lift him up, throw him down.
Oh, okay, and he's kind of jumping along with you.
Exactly, he's helping out there. And at this point, to be fair, Andre couldn't help out a whole lot because he was at the tail end of his gigantism. Yeah, but he did not die a few days later. He went there for like 6 more years. So why are you saying that he killed him with a body slam? And like with
as George, if there's no certification of death, like as if no one can go and check that out. That's unbelievable.
Like with George Foreman and Mickey Rourke, like he wouldn't be exactly close to these people or know a lot about them. So it's like, you know, just ideas.
Yeah.
But saying that this guy that he like wrestled with for years died 3 days after, it's just like a whole new level of like clearly that you know it doesn't happen. You haven't even made this one up in your head. In the same vein, a couple more. So he says that after WrestleMania 2, which was in 1986, that he partied with John Belushi. True or false?
I would say true.
John Belushi died in 1982. He says that Elvis was a Hulkamaniac. Elvis did like wrestling. Elvis was known to be into wrestling. He was all about wrestling. He loved that. But he died well before Hulk Hogan even came about.
I was kind of thinking that would be the case.
But here's the worst one when it comes to people who are dead. So he said that he was touched by a Make-A-Wish kid so much he personally invited him to come to see him at SummerSlam 92, which was in Wembley Stadium.
Okay.
In London. And when he went out there, the seat was empty. And Hogan knew that he was gone. Touched by the Hulkster, he recorded a song about him, including the line, "I guess there will be an empty seat when I wrestle at Wembley." But Hulk Hogan didn't wrestle at that show at Wembley at all. He was never there, so this whole thing he fabricated, like the whole Make-A-Wish kid, him not being there, he made all of it up.
Did he record a song about the empty seat?
No, if he recorded the song. I'm going to look that up later on. I do only have a couple of more before I get into the more fun, my favourite part of this. He says that Mike Tyson was too scared to work with him. And this is in the mid-90s. This is Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson.
Top.
And he had to cancel the whole program with Mike Tyson because he was too scared.
Do you think a lot of this is like, has he spent so long in wrestling where they've got to like ham it up and they got to kind of make up stories and make up clashes? So, has he done it so much that he's like method acting in life now?
Well, I have a theory that's going to come, but I have to get to my favorite part of this whole thing. It's like my favorite thing he's ever said because it's like it sort of actually makes sense of it all in some ways, but we're not there yet.
Right.
He did say that he fought a whole load of Pride fighters in the 70s, but Pride
like
fighting,
gay fighters?
No, Pride was a company.
Oh, okay.
But Pride fighting didn't exist until 1997. But yeah, so
I was actually more interested. I was like, did like the gay pride have like a wrestling branch? Because it kind of fits. Like I could see, you know, the bedazzled, bejeweled, and the fringe and the costumes.
No, obviously,
and the muscles. Like I could see that happening.
Obviously, there are comparisons to be made there.
Yeah.
I just love the idea that because I know what Pride fighting is. I love the idea that they have like some sort of UFC steel cage match at Pride.
I could be wildly wrong, but I think there's definitely a subsect of gay men who would totally be into like wrestling.
Oh, 100%.
I could 100% see
sure there
a gay pride wrestling branch.
I can see that
for
too.
sure.
And there have been like gay wrestling companies, like small ones.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And there's lots of things going on.
Is that like a bit of a? I don't know where I'm going with this.
It was hanging on every there for a second.
Like, abort.
But like, so as you notice, I didn't actually say anything true. You didn't get to choose a true one that actually was true.
No.
I sort of tricked you there into thinking some of these were true. They were not.
That's why I asked what was going to be. Like, did I get a clue or ratios or?
But here's what the one that makes the most sense. So I can't stop laughing at this. So there was a whole thing where Hulk Hogan's sex tape was leaked. This is like 2010.
Now, hang on. Is this a real thing, or is this did he make up?
This is a real thing. It was
Okay,
like,
all right.
was it Gawker? Was that what it was called? It was some sort of like journalism, so to speak. Like some sort of like journalism company, some sort of newspaper. I don't know.
Was
But-
it like a porno, or was it just like a home tape?
No, it was a home tape.
Oh,
but
okay. Because he has the kind of look about him.
to go porno, yeah, it's fair. Yeah. But he's old at this point, and he ever got a hold of this, leaked it. Everybody's seen it, and he sued them.
Okay.
Right, and I think he won. But during the court case, he was asked about the size of his dick.
After there's video evidence?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And direct quote, he says, and you know Hulk Hogan's real name is Terry Bollea, because just so you,
I didn't know that, but okay.
just for context in this part. So the quote exactly from this is like an actual quote. Like it's in court documents. Hulk Hogan has a 10-inch penis. Terry Bollea does not. So what I think
Yeah.
from that revelation
Okay, I get
is that
it.
everything that's been said before is lore of Hulk Hogan character,
Okay.
but not Terry Bollea, and he's got some sort of like split personality situation going on.
That makes so much sense. Whenever you just realize it is just all for show.
But it's almost more acceptable.
Yeah.
Once you hear the Hulk Hogan has a 10-inch penis, but Terry Bollea does not.
It just suddenly you go from thinking the guy's a delusional narcissist to going, oh, actually he's just playing a role. He's just
But like you make things up that like aren't verifiable. Like it's not like the lore of, you know, I can't think of a good character right now, but like the lore of Harry Potter doesn't include like, you know, other things that are related to wizards and stuff. It doesn't have like what's his name, Merlin and stuff in there, like, you know.
I actually think it does.
I'm sure, maybe you're right.
But that's not verifiable.
But
Like,
it's not exactly. It's not
you know,
verifiable.
it's not like you're going through the scrolls being like, well, fucking actually. Joanne.
Joanne.
Get it right.
And then I got to thinking then, like, should I create a whole character that I can just start, like, pretending to be somebody else for a minute just for the fun of it?
I don't necessarily think it's bad to have an alter ego. I think sometimes you need to have that little bit of separation. And to be honest, sometimes, even whenever I go out, I kind of put on a different personality sometimes.
I do, as well.
Because whenever I'm in, I'm very sort of introverted and quite sort of, and then when I'm out, and you're out and about, you're like, right, we're out to socialise, get your game head on, go out, have a bit of fun. Whereas normally I just like to sort of sit and, you know.
I feel like I have very different personalities depending on who I'm with. But it's all just versions of me. It's not like
it's not. That's true. That's true. It's not a fabrication. And that you're absolutely right. Like whenever I go out, I'm not fabricating a persona.
Yeah.
I'm just playing up certain parts of my personality and sort of minimizing other parts of my personality. Whereas I suppose Hulk Hogan is just
it's just a straight different
wild.
person. It's just a straight different
It's just
person.
wild.
Again, we don't really know who the real Terry Bollea is.
But the fact to keep that up for your entire life,
Yeah.
every time you're in public,
With no reason.
at what point do you just lose Terry? Terry's gone, and it's just, you know, it's just the Hulkamaniac, or what's his name for himself?
Is a Hulkamaniac, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, Hulkamaniac.
it's crazy. Anyway, I don't think we're going to get much more philosophical
this
about
is,
Hulk Hogan.
This is more of an addendum to the last episode that we wanted to go through some of those lies that I had prepared, because like it really is like there's obviously everybody in wrestling lies, but generally speaking, you know, it's small lies and you can understand why, you know, it's to sell a story or whatever, you know, it's to make a thing. But these were just like out there for no reason at all. It's just like why is he involved in Metallica? Like, I don't understand why Metallica became part of it. Like, it's not like his theme tune was ever Metallica. It's not like he has any like direct relation to Metallica that I understand. Like, or the Rolling Stones. He was going to replace John Lennon when the Beatles reunited.
I'm just kind of speechless about a lot of it. Like, I don't even know what direction to go and trying to respond. Like, it's just so crazy.
Yeah.
You just gotta go. That's
Like-
just fucking wild.
Like, there's a certain level of, like, there's levels of lies, you know. There's acceptable lie, there's, like, kind of out there but believable lie, and then there's just whatever he's saying. It's just, you just have to accept it's not going to be true,
No.
no matter what he says.
I think the part where you kind of go, right, well, that's not good, is whenever it starts to involve other people, and whenever it's
Yes.
involved, like,
The Make-A-Wish
dead
kid.
people, like Make-A-Wish kids and stuff. You know, whenever he's lying about that level of stuff, you go, that's not really cool, man. It's kind of like whenever Trump is just out talking shit, you go, all right, whatever. But whenever he's talking shit, but it's impacting people's lives, you
Yeah.
go,
Not cool.
that's not cool.
Yeah,
you know?
don't be at that.
So that's as much as I would have to say on the whole thing. Also, I gotta go because, like, you know, I got a gig to get to.
You have a gig tonight, don't you?
Yeah, I'm going to see 21 Pilots. So one of my best friends, Damien, he's
Yeah.
been doing the pyrotechnics for them on their European tour.
That must be a lot
So he's
of
got
fun.
us on the guest list. Yeah, man. Well, yeah, as I said, it's been completely stressful. So
Of course, but
because
fun in its own
he
way.
comes from a film and TV background as well, so it's only the last couple of years.
He's
He
branched out
did it
into-
for Adele. Now he's doing it for 21 Pilots. He's heading off to America. He's going to do it for what is their name? It's just completely gone. They're super famous. My Chemical Romance.
Oh,
So yeah, he's heading over and doing it for them as well. Later, or he's tagged, he's penciled for going over. But yeah, it's great, man. It's great to see him doing well. And
of course it is.
And I've kind of been making a point the last couple of years of saying this is a really good idea because in 5 years' time, who knows where the film and TV
Well,
are we just going to be replaced by AI,
what about
CGI?
this 100% tariff?
Man, don't even
American
talk.
folks.
Yeah, we've been panicking because
Yeah, of course.
it's just so damaging to our whole industry. That's what I'm talking about because he comes out and says this stuff. You can't tariff intellectual property.
It doesn't make any sense.
So it doesn't make any sense, but it's enough to put the fear in people. And when you put the fear in people, like
They don't want to
producers
make
and
this-
stuff,
yep.
if they think, right, well, we might be stuck losing millions here, they just put a pause on things. They go,
Yep.
right, well, we're just going to hold on for a minute.
And see what's going on, and then nobody has work.
Yeah, and the way we work, it's gig by gig. It's a
Yeah.
gig economy. So whenever everybody decides to put a pause on stuff, it's really quite damaging
Yeah,
to our
it's scary.
industry, you know. And for one guy to just be able to say it on a whim, be like, yeah, you know, we're going to 100% tariff everything, you know. We want to take all the fucking international films and make them in America. It's so dangerous, you know.
It's so stupid as well. Like the whole, like you couldn't have filmed Lord of the Rings in America, for example. Like it had to be in New Zealand. You know, that's the.
That's it, and they have volume stages, and they have this and
know,
that.
but, like, it's not the
But
same.
also, it's a global. It's it's a real global industry, and there are people in the UK and in Ireland and in Bulgaria and in Spain and in Japan and in China.
Mm-hmm.
There are these people who are as tenured in the industry as the people in America. Now they like to say, "Oh, Hollywood is this is where everything gets made." And fair enough, that's where a lot of the screenwriters are, and that's where a lot of the
actors
real
live and everything
rich
else, yeah.
production companies and a lot of the actors that you see everywhere, they're from there. But in terms of crew, below the line crew, which would be what we are,
It's wherever it's being filmed.
wherever it's being filmed, you get world class crew all over the world.
Yeah.
And yes, there are tax incentives and there's things like that production companies look at their bottom line and say, right, well, we'll go here or we'll go there. But there's a lot more to it than just the bottom line as well. It's
Yeah.
like if you're in an English-speaking country, that's helpful. If you're in places that have established crew, established studios, like in Belfast, we have volume stages set up that are some of the best volume. Whenever I say volume stages, it's like those big screens
Yep.
that you basically put stuff on from like Unreal Engine or whatever in the background. We have some of the best equipment like that in the world that's been built, So whenever you have the facilities and you've got the crew, people turn around and go, "Oh, you're stealing jobs from America." We're not stealing jobs from America. We've been doing it. UK's been doing it for like over 100 years. Ireland's been doing it
Jobs
from
from
like
America.
longer than most of these people that are shouting, "Oh, you're stealing jobs from America." Like they weren't even alive when films were getting made over here. But it's a little bit frustrating because it's creating fractures in our industry.
Yeah.
Between people who are like should be friends, and there's kind of a brotherhood because we've all sort of run off and joined the circus together.
Yep.
So you get there's
It's a nice way to think of it.
there's a real specific type of person who gets into our industry.
Yeah.
And we all we all kind of understand who we are. You know, we're the people who didn't quite fit in the real world. And we all ran off. And we
Not like the other girls.
yeah, I'm not like everyone else. But now, you know, it's causing this because it has been very lean. We've gone through a lot of hard times.
Yep.
You know, this last 7 years in the industry
COVID.
been a massive slowdown. You know, there's a lot of kind of fracturing going on anyway with, you know, the politics of the time in America and in California. Then there was the pandemic. Then there was the writer's strikes. Then there was the actors' strikes. And we've just never gotten back to
Normal.
You know, and then now the Trump's coming out saying, "Oh, we're going to put 100% tariffs on everything." It's like we just can't get our feet under ourselves. You know, it's tough because whenever you're working, it's great, but whenever you're not working,
It's scary. Yeah.
it's bad, and you don't know when the next paycheck's coming from, and it's so bad for your mental health as well. There's so many people that are just like
Anxious wrecks.
in the dumps, you know, all the time. Anyway, I'm going on too long about it. The point is, I'm going to go see my friend who's gotten into doing live effects now as well, which I think is
It's a very cool thing to get into.
It's intelligently diversify your portfolio. And I bought a couple of smoke machines and spark machines and flame machines and stuff as well, toying with the idea, but on a smaller scale. But I'd rather just sit and chat with you. So, you know, somebody sponsor us, please.
Somebody sponsor. We'll do our own pyrotechnics.